up. Like I was like,
What years?
like in the beginning, like in the 2000, maybe like 16 era.
Okay.
Like it was at the beginning or not really?
That's not the beginning. That's
Okay,
toward the
what?
end.
I'm
Wait,
like, I
when did
was
it
there from the
start?
start. I
Well,
opened a
this
Soul Cycle.
this stuff 2016 was sort of like at its peak.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
was
we can say that it was cresting, but like about to experience
yeah, a
yeah,
downfall.
a downfall.
Because what when the way that I saw Soul Cycle having a downfall was that Peloton came into the scene.
I bought a Peloton.
And Hannah bought a Peloton and the whole thing just shattered.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
It's so interesting how if you literally like were to like map it out, there are different inflection points of like these major societal political moments that happened, and you really could draw it out. But the Peloton slash the pandemic, like you're combining those two things together.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that yes, you we could point to that as perhaps the biggest. Yeah, they never really technically came back from the pandemic and reclaimed the zeitgeist the way in which where they were
Yeah. Well,
prior.
can you start off by just telling us like so let's start with the Soul Cycle. So you've done two docu series on one on Soul Cycle, one on Fire Island.
Hmm.
You also have your weekly podcast. What inspired you specifically to tackle Soul Cycle and Fire Island? Like what brought you to
So
that?
so each of those started out there, the infancy of each of those series
Mhm.
started out as individual episodes of hot takes
Cool.
and deep dives. And yeah, that's a lot of but it's sort of hot takes and deep dives is a little, I mean, it's an interview based show, but also I do episodes that are just like bottle episodes where they're kind of just incubators for things that I'm obsessed with. And
Mhm.
I'll bring on like an expert in the subject matter or a friend who's worked at a certain place, and we'll just like go through stuff as just a way to sort of like express my passion for a certain subject. And sometimes it just keeps coming back around. And Fire Island and Soul Cycle are the two things that I just couldn't shake in terms of wanting to really get to the bottom of each of those stories and places. And so
Yeah.
that's really, and also those were the two places where I found community in my
Mm.
adult New York City life.
Hmm.
Like I lived it. Like it's really like my story. So
Okay.
yeah, it was like these are the subjects that I could talk extensively about and want to consume every piece of media about. Yet I couldn't quite scratch the itch entirely to
Yeah.
flesh out like everything I wanted to say about it and everything I wanted to know. So I went out to create that piece of media that I would
Mhm.
want in each of those subject matters.
Gotcha. And did you spend a lot of time on Fire Island specifically or Cherry Grove? Because I know it's mainly like men on Fire Island. Like, what's that?
Yeah,
No.
I spent a lot of time in both Cherry Grove
Yeah.
and the Pines. I would say I spent more time in Cherry Grove in my like earlier like mid 2000s life
Yeah.
than starting in the pandemic. Nearly all my time was spent in the Pines, and that is
Mm.
really where like I met a lot of my friends and a lot of people from the city I would run into, like instructors at Barry's Boot Camp and Soul Cycle who I knew, like that is really where they were. And it was from there, from spending all that time in the Pines, that I really fell in love with the place and started to like read books about the history, started to watch a couple documentaries that were sort of, the documentaries are a little bit not entirely fully baked productions. And so it was like, I really, again, like wanting to create the thing that didn't exist in the world.
And had you ever done a documentary before, or this was
No,
like you were fascinated
no.
with this and you just did it? That's
I
pretty
just
impressive.
I faked it till I made it.
I
Yeah.
love that. I
I
love
just
that.
figured it out.
And for people who haven't seen them, like what's like the thesis? Like what is the call to the documentary?
Yeah, so Finding Fire Island is all about like the history, mystique, and lore of the two oldest gay communities in the US, the
Yeah.
Pines and Cherry Grove. And Soul Cycle is very much about like the zeitgeist and the cult of personality and the candlelit rooms and the seduction. How did Soul Cycle capture the zeitgeist in a way that the New York City zeitgeist in particular, in
Mhm.
a way that no other fitness brand had before, or in my opinion, ever will again. It was
Mm.
a moment in time, and we are fucking happy to be alive. And it is a miracle that we all experienced it. And
Mhm.
that's what should be celebrated.
Are there's still soul cycles around, right?
Yeah.
Because I yeah,
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
one of the instructors at my studio that I go to, my yoga studio, she's a soul cycle instructor. So
Mhm.
they're still
Oh,
are
what's
they
her name?
I don't want to shout out her name, just
Okay.
I want to protect her in case we
Okay.
go on a soul cycle
That's funny.
spree.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
but I what was I gonna say? I feel like there used to be one across the street from
There
me
did
and
used
that
to be
shut
one over
down. So
here.
is what you're saying is that Soul Cycle has like kind of they've are they not doing well right now? Because I don't really know the status of how they're doing.
I don't think that I think with the saturation, Barry's boot camp is exploding. There's a lot of money coming into Barry's boot camp
Mhm.
and they're expanding and basically SoulCycle with the Equinox acquisition, they
Yeah.
expanded. It's really the lesson of like overexpansion and
Right.
saturation.
Right.
And when you're originally the restaurant that no one could get into and suddenly you're Applebee's, that's the story of SoulCycle.
It's also
Wow.
like now more than ever, there's gyms where you can do everything at. Like there's
Yeah.
even gyms that have Peloton in their gym. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why would you
Yeah.
pay for one thing when you
Yeah.
could go pay the same price? Especially like I used to go to SoulCycle, but then I couldn't afford it. So I used to go to Ride NYC.
Ah,
And then
yeah.
it was like my Peloton membership, of course, came with buying that bike. But like
Yes.
my monthly membership right now was I don't have it anymore, but was the price of one Soul Cycle class. And I was
But
like,
here's
that's
the
a
thing.
whole
But
month.
here's the thing. The magic of SoulCycle, it's
Mhm.
being in that room.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
Right.
paying for theater.
Yeah.
It's theater. It's
Everyone
not
there
a
is just
workout.
actors looking to
Yeah.
get another job.
That's what you're paying for. It's not getting on the bike and like spinning around, going nowhere, sitting on a bike that goes nowhere for
Mhm.
45 minutes. That's not what you're paying for. Because, like you said, you can do that anywhere. You're paying for these trained, extremely charismatic performers getting on top of a podium and seducing you into a place, a mental and emotional and ultimately physical place that, and basically like taking you into a Broadway show. Like,
It
Yeah.
is. I mean,
that's
it's
what it
very
was at its
emotional.
height.
And it's like they do the thing at the end where it's like it's your final minute and they blow out the candle and they turn off the lights and
The
you go
soulful moment.
crazy. And
Yes.
it's like you go for those moments. You can't get
Yes.
that other places.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's like the okay, let's get into some juicy stuff. So like what's the darkest thing you've uncovered about Soul Cycle?
I mean, probably the thing most people don't know. Well, first of all, there was the tragic death of this instructor, Claire Veronica Walsh. She was a beloved instructor in like 2009 to 2012, and she died. She was very young. She was like 22 years old, gorgeous girl, and she was extremely popular. She was gonna be set to open the West Hollywood studio, and she died on Christmas night 2012. And there's a lot of lore about her death. And so we explore that in the series. We have like a firsthand account of it. And
Do you know
that's
why she died or
she, why does a 22-year-old very, beloved, why does a 22-year-old die? Who's like an exercise, who's a performer, partying too hard. Like she was, and
Mm,
also like working your body to the bone. So,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Because like when they're teaching those classes, they're also taking those classes.
exactly. She
Like
was
other
teaching.
fitness, like you coach, but you're not also taking it. Where cycling classes, especially, you're
Yep.
also doing the workout.
Riding the bike more than 12 times a week, probably under eating, and also on top of that, heavy partying. Like these
Mm.
were rock stars. They were celebrated. They were never told no. They were like the toast of New York City. So, especially somebody so young,
Mm-hmm.
why would that person suddenly pass?
And did SoulCycle just like keep moving, like fill the time slot, keep moving? They didn't really address it.
Oh, no, no, no. They addressed it. There was a benefit ride set to Moulin Rouge that her mentor put together out in the Hamptons, and they raised a lot of money for the Lower East Side Girls Club, which was very important to her family. No, they definitely like honored her memory. And her name is Claire Veronica Walsh. Like everyone should look her up. She was really this ingenue. And so a lot of people may not know that story. And
that's like the
really go in.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a death is pretty dark.
No, 100%.
And also, I think the other story,
the beginning of her probably career in fitness and performing.
That's tragic. It's awful.
Yeah.
What else like around SoulCycle? So you talked about like, and I saw this in the trailer of the show. You talk about the partying, like so they were partying too together, and they were like, is that kind of what the vibe was?
It was sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Wow. Okay.
That's crazy because it's so in my head, like I feel like the more I got into fitness, the more I leaned away from partying because partying messed with my fitness. Like,
totally.
I think it's something happens, and I've spoken to a lot of instructors. A God complex does develop. You are elevated on this platform above all of these adoring spectators who are showering you with gifts. Like I have instructors, they're like Hermes blankets, Hermes bracelets. They were given cash by the founders. They were never told no. They were treated like NFL players.
Yeah.
So it was, caviar, and they were treated like that by the riders as well as the founders because these people were cash cows.
Yeah.
Because
they were the face. They were the face of the hottest brand in New York City.
Yeah.
Hottest club you couldn't get into.
Yeah.
So wait, was there a period of time where just like you could not get in a SoulCycle class?
Yes.
I feel like when I was doing it, I never experienced that.
Yes. Oh, yes. My time, my era. Yeah.
And what year was that? Do you feel like?
I started in 2010. I would say 2009, 2010 to 2016.
Okay.
For certain instructors, many instructors, there were like 100-person wait lists.
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy.
People at the front desk, don't worry, I'll get you in. But sometimes like you couldn't get in.
It's like a host at like a VIP restaurant.
And especially out in the Hamptons, people would like pay each other for bikes. Wow. It was a whole thing. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's really crazy. Especially now, because it's like at that time, that was probably like the cycling, the gym, where now there's so many options. Like,
well, there's so many copycats.
You'll just go to another. Why would you wait in line to get into one place?
Yeah, well, think about it. Why would you wait in line to get into, the club Basement in Queens?
Yes, yeah.
It's like a rave club. Like, why do people wait there? Because you want the thing that you can't get into is the thing you want. This is like psychology 101.
Right. Yeah.
So this was the first documentary you did, and then you did the Fire Island.
Fire Island came first.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had this idea a lot longer.
Yeah. And so, what do you think now? Pivoting, but same question. Like, what's like the hottest take on Fire Island that you have?
Ooh, hottest take on Fire Island is it's not what a lot. Well, maybe the doors are a little bit blown right open on it. Okay, this is the hottest take on Fire Island. I think all these gay boys who are going to Fire Island, I think listening to Finding Fire Island should be required listening before. You should not be allowed to step foot on that fucking island until you listen to the history. And it's wrapped in, first of all, it's not like a history show. It's like a bunch of like fags like popping off about the island, and like it's lots of comedians. Joel Kim Booster is in it, and Margaret Cho, and a lot of people who've been there from the 50s. Like I spoke to this 92-year-old drag queen who arrived in 1955, and he still performs today. He is a legitimate legend.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who he is, you should not be allowed to step. You should not be allowed to get into the underwear party unless you can name check like five icons.
Quiz at the door.
Oh my God. That's so funny. And
that's my hottest take.
Do you still spend time in Fire Island?
I was there over Labor Day.
Oh, fun.
I was there like 4 times this summer. Of course.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
I've never been.
I've been.
But I'll do the required watching before I go.
Yeah.
If I go.
Yeah.
And what do you think is like the dark side of Fire Island?
The dark side, I think, Not in Cherry Grove, but in the Pines. I would think there is. I think a lot of the guys, listen, all my friends, I'm gay and all of my friends are gay and a lot of my friends are gay men. And I think there is a pressure with like body image to like look a
Mm-hmm.
certain way and be a certain quote unquote gay guy, like capital G chap, an A gay with like capital G gay guy. And that's the dark side is a lot of people like fall into that myth that you
Yeah.
have to be this
Yeah.
certain thing when really you don't. And if you just let all that go, that's where the real fun begins.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely saw that when I was there. It's like there's definitely like the quintessential gay
Yeah.
that goes
But
to Fire
but
Island.
the truth is the people who are having the most fun and the
Yeah.
best conversations, truly living life and loving life, are like the people who opt out of all of
A
that stuff.
hundred percent, a
Mhm.
100%. Because you go, like I would go to, we went to a couple parties and it was like a bunch of people standing around and they didn't really like have anything to talk about. They're
Yeah.
just like, oh, like, hey, where are you staying? Like, and then there's just like
Yeah.
no other conversation. Whereas like, I don't know, I feel like the crew I went with, and then also like people that we ended up hanging out with were like so fun and like hilarious, and
Yeah.
we didn't fit into like the mold of the like, six pack speedo. I clearly didn't, but
Six pack speedo.
but
Yes, you
like,
do.
yeah. But like, it was just I mean it's the same thing in New York, like when you see a bunch of women that are very like skinny and blonde and
Tall.
hanging out in the West Village, and you kind of like listen into their conversations and you're like, wait, I don't think they're having
They're
fun.
not. Yeah.
But yeah, very influencer.
Yeah.
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 But it's like it kind of has like I feel like Fire Island kind of has like a Mean Girls vibe to it sometimes, like in terms of like the cliques and like which party you're allowed into. And because there's like all these like really beautiful houses and like you have to get an invite to
I
get
know
in.
there's like what is it? The house that's like the most expensive. What is it? The Superman house? Isn't that
Oh
what it's
yeah,
called?
there's this yeah, the
My
Superman house.
friends were
Yeah.
talking. I didn't know what they were talking about. My friends, my gay men friends, they were talking about how this guy they know went with just four guys and they're at the Superman house for
Mm.
like 6 days. So they were just
Uh-huh.
all talking about how much money had to be spent. And I was like, I didn't even know
Yeah.
anything about this. But then I looked up the price of that house, and that is insane. To be split for four men for 6 days.
Crazy.
That's an insane amount of money if anyone listening knows the price of that freaking house.
That's the other, I would say the other thing is you actually don't have to spend a lot of money to stay in. I think if you nurture the right friendships,
Oh yeah. If you
you
find the
can
right daddy.
yeah, like that's the thing. There are people like that who have to like buy their way in, but
Yeah.
also if you're just like a sort of fabulous, charming person,
hundred
you'll
percent.
find your way like invited
You don't need
from
this
a
in my
strength
house.
of just your own personality and people wanting to be around you, which has absolutely nothing to do with the way you look or how much money you have.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
because I remember we went to one pool party and it was like there was this like significantly older guy throwing the party, and
Mm.
then just like tons of boys, and then me, which like I really don't, which actually,
Hey boys.
yeah, like hey
Yeah.
boys. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was just funny. And I asked him, I was like, how do you, because he told me that like at least eight of them were staying with him. And
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
yeah. And I was like, how are you feeding them? And he's like, oh, honey, they don't eat. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Not worried about paying for
You should read
groceries.
you should read that article that came out in The Cut called "We've Reached Peak Gay Sluttiness." It just came out
That
last week. It's
that was
fascinating.
the cut. I was just talking to
Yeah.
her about this.
It's basic like my thesis is basically you don't have to be doing any of that. And quite frankly, the people who are sober in a lot of ways are having the most fun.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right.
All right. So this is New Yorker of the Week. So we have
Yes.
some New York questions for you. So
Oh,
you're a
love it.
native New Yorker. So what's like the most Jess Rothschild's corner of New York? Like what is your New York?
I would say like University Place because I did go to NYU and
Okay.
I lived at Weinstein Hall and Hayden Hall. I would say like the NYU area because I did live there and now I actually live very, very close to there
Mhm.
as well. So I would say that. Listen, if this was 10 years ago, I would say any SoulCycle below 14th Street.
Wow. Are you
I
an
would
instructor yourself? Like, do you do
no.
fitness instruction? Oh, no. Okay.
No, it's just a lifestyle.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But yeah, if this was 10 years ago, I would say SoulCycle NoHo, SoulCycle 19th Street.
Wow.
Or now Barry's Boot Camp, no, Barry's NoHo, Barry's Chelsea. That's my New York too.
Are
So
you going to do a
either-
documentary on berries, do you think?
so there's a lot of Barry stuff in the bonus episodes of
Oh, okay.
Cult of
We'll have
Body
to
and Soul.
check that out.
I interview people who've taught at both Soul and Barry's, and it's really good. Yeah.
That's awesome. We'll have to
Yeah.
check that out, and listeners definitely.
I'm a little
check that.
scared to talk about Barry's. They can be a little litigious.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. Did anyone like shut you down in any of these
No.
places where they
No.
like get away? No, they were just like,
No.
let's do
They
it.
love it because frankly, nobody's talking about SoulCycle anymore.
Yeah. So they're
Yeah.
like, please.
My friend was like, they should
Yes.
give you free rides for life. I'm like, that kind of happened.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow.
That's
In
what
some
we
ways,
do with
yeah.
this interview.
So, question about New York. Okay, this is more of just like a rapid fire question, but
Yeah,
who comes
hit
to
me.
mind when you hear a true New Yorker? Who comes to mind?
I would say Bob Levine, the 92-year-old drag queen.
Okay,
Who
okay.
He grew up in the Bronx. He started going to Fire Island in 1955. He's lived in New York his entire life.
Yeah.
He lives in like Hell's Kitchen-ish. Like no, he lives in like Lincoln Center area now. That's a true New Yorker, babe.
That's a true New Yorker.
That's a true New Yorker.
Yeah.
Or you know who else comes to mind? Like Patricia Field.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah,
whose business has impacted the culture in
Mhm.
such a profound, tangible way.
yeah.
I would say those
100%.
two.
100%. Cool.
And then
Yeah.
we always ask our guests like what the most New York moment of their week was. So obviously it's Monday, but just like what, because we feel like in New York, there's just these things that happen here that like when you leave, it's like, oh, this doesn't happen other places.
Okay, the most New York moment of my week.
Could be last week, could even be.
Your
Okay,
last
I
week.
would say running into people. Oh, here's the most New York moment of my week. A girl, and I'm sorry, listen, all roads will go back to SoulCycle or Fire. That is very much my life.
And that's totally
Hmm.
fine.
Okay, a friend of mine who I met at SoulCycle like 12, 15 years ago, her name is Stephanie. Okay, wait, let me say this. Okay. A friend of mine who I met at SoulCycle, she
Yeah.
now lives in LA, and I always run into her on the streets of New York, like whenever she's visiting New York. And we met at SoulCycle in New York. She doesn't even live in New York anymore. And I run into her like 3 times a year, just like randomly on the street.
That's
It is
crazy.
truly like
Yeah.
some special sauce that like keeps
Yeah.
bringing us back together. And we remain friends all these years later. We don't even live in the same city
Oh, I
Well,
love
that's
Yeah,
that.
we
so
keep-
great that you guys run into each other whenever she's in New York.
when she's in New York.
That's
Because
so
I
funny.
walk everywhere. So
Mhm.
like you can find me on these streets.
I love
We'll be
that.
looking for you.
All right. Well, Jess, you've been so great to chat with.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
on.
You're amazing. Where can people find you? Like, tell us everything for our listeners.
Just my Instagram, Jess X NYC. That's where you can see everything.
Okay.
Yeah, clips
cool.
of the show, or clips of everything. And I have a lot of video content that goes to the podcast, and all that's on the Instagram. And if you like stalk me enough, you can find stuff on YouTube, and it's all there.
Cool. Jess, thank
Amazing.
you so much. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.